Good morning, everyone. I just got done watching a video I just shared to the post from BP News. Very good compilation of what's going on and what has happened in the past. Kind of putting the pieces together, I guess, to a certain extent. And as I was watching this, the word countdown came to my mind. And that's what I actually, when I shared it to the post, that's what I typed at the top, countdown in all capital letters. Because that's kind of what it feels like to me. It kind of feels like we're on a countdown. I don't know if it's a countdown from 10 or 100 or 1,000 or what. I don't know if it's a countdown of hours or days or weeks, but that's just the word that came to me. It's countdown because it just seems to me with all of the reporting and the news and the press conferences and the explanations and excuses and let's just face it, lies, uh, you know, it just seems like to me like we're on a countdown. Some people are saying, well, duh, yeah, of course we are. But it's kind of something that I really can't put my finger on because not only reading and watching some things and hearing some things and it just seems to me that the countdown is in play for me personally. This is me personally, my personal opinion. I think it's days. That's just me. That's the feeling I get. I think it's days. I don't think it's weeks necessarily. I think it's days. And there have been reports, threats, for lack of a better term, of, who knows who these people are? Who really knows, to be honest with you? But, people, they get on tick-tock and I see videos being shared, things that I'm subscribed to or just come up on, my feed or whatever, of people making very short snippets of videos talking about how basically something's going to happen within days. And we all know the threats regarding, July 4th weekend. At least people should know by now that whether they are legitimate or not remains to be seen. But it does appear that when you look at uh, this type of holiday, it's like people can't wait, to shoot off fireworks. They can't wait to party. They can't wait to celebrate. And the fact that July 4th is on a Friday to me is personally is kind of frightening because it gives people even more time to and more of an excuse to maybe, I don't know, how do I say it, distract or become involved in distractions. Well, let's just say there could be cover for things that are really happening through the celebration and the noise and the fireworks, where by the time people realize what is truly going on, it might be too late because of the diversion of fireworks, of the diversion with the noise and the music and the partying and the celebrating. And I think it is Jeremiah 49:31, I believe. I think that's what it is, 49:31, where I think it was my friend Daniel that emailed this to me. I think it was him. If not, I apologize, whoever it was. I get a lot of emails. But I think it was him. And I was sent that verse and I looked it up and I was kind of like, wow. So I had to look at different translations and so forth, because it's very interesting. Because that verse reveals to, or excuse me, that refers, not reveals, refers to basically what sounds like a summer party, like heat in the feast days, like while people are celebrating and having a good time, that's when the sudden destruction comes upon them. And it's during the heat. It's a very interesting verse because it specifically refers to heat. So, kind of like, you know, it implies that it's going to be during the summer. It's going to be during the hottest times of the year when people are partying and having a good time, that's when the destruction occurs. That's when things go down. I thought it was a very interesting verse. People might want to check it out. And when I was looking it up, I accidentally put in 49:41, and that's an interesting verse too, because that refers again to more destruction. So I was always familiar with Jeremiah 50 and 51 regarding Mystery Babylon, regarding destruction upon Mystery Babylon, and you know the prophetic words from Jeremiah, you know, regarding that. But I wasn't that familiar with chapter 49. So people might want to check that out. Just a suggestion. But the bottom line is, you know, you listen to people like Eric Hale, for instance. You know, he put out quite a few videos as of late, and you know he kept getting interrupted. For whatever reasons, battery was dying or whatever, technical difficulties. So he kept having to, upload and re-upload and whatnot. And I gotta tell you, I am seeing a lot of confirmation from people that I have been listening to and I guess following, I guess you could say. I mean, I don't really like that word, but kind of listening to, subscribing, because you want to follow Jesus and only Jesus, but don't put your trust in any man. But in saying that, though, I have discovered over the years that there are certain messengers that I refer to as messengers of the Lord that are being validated right now with their messages from years ago and some just months ago now, where it appears that a lot of things are either already occurred regarding these messages or are in the process of occurring. And people, they have to kind of do a deep dive. They have to study. They have to research. They have to see the forest through the trees, because on the surface it may look like, well, no, that didn't come to pass because there's a ceasefire right now, or because everything is currently, the Q word, quiet, currently quiet, But if you look at the latest reports, you will see that Iran is not capitulating, okay? They're not backing down. They are, how do you say it? They are, I think they're resupplying, to be honest with you. I think from a military perspective, I know that when it appears things are quiet, it's because people are plotting and they are planning their next steps. It's because when things are kinetic, and missiles are flying and bombs are flying and people are running for their lives and people are being sheltered and going into bunkers and this and that. From a human perspective, your adrenaline is pumping and you're either running to the fight or away from the fight, and you're not planning and plotting your next moves at that particular time. You got to kind of wait until things settle down. and then you can think more clearly, then you can get your cabinet together, whatever, your people together, and then you're thinking more clearly, people are calm, their adrenaline isn't rushing then, and now they're able to come up with the next steps, the plot, the plan, whatever you want to call it. That's what I think is happening. That's what I think is going on right now. But there are rumors, there are reports that there's no backing down here. It's just a lull. Just and I told people a while back, I don't know, several weeks back. I said there may be lulls. I didn't necessarily use the word ceasefire. I just thought that there would be, you know, times where things were a little slower. Maybe, it wasn't like full blown kinetic 24/7. There are times like that, but anybody that's been in battle, anybody that's been in a war or uh, has, had family members, Vietnam veterans or whatever, dare I say it, even Desert Storm, because it's like, man, coming up like it's like a lot of the Vietnam veterans are gone now, or they're really getting up in age, and I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, it's my generation now. It's the Desert Storm veterans. I'm like, I can't believe that I'm here now at almost 55 years old, that it's my generation now that is what's remaining. It's like, oh my gosh, really? Did I really arrive at that point in my life? It's like, yeah, we're here, man. So I just remember in training, I remember, you know, that it's kind of hard to describe unless you're in a combat situation or you're in uh, the type of situation, that fight or flight kind of scenario. It's kind of hard to describe it, but you have like, it's like full blown kinetic for maybe several minutes or hours, because the minutes seem like hours, the hours seem like days. I mean, because when you're in the situation and you're being fired upon, or you are, you know, in the heat of a battle or whatever else, it's time kind of gets away from you in a way. It's kind of hard to explain. But then when it's slow, when it stops or whatever, that's when you can think. And warriors will tell you those are the worst parts. That's the worst times, because that's when your thoughts play tricks on you. And that's when you start thinking about and worrying about, for lack of a better term, home, family, friends, whatever else. Are you going to see him again? Are you going to get home, kind of thing. Warriors will tell you this, that you know, that's the worst part, because when they're on task, on mission, and the bullets are flying, and they know what they're supposed to be doing, their adrenaline's pumping and everything, they're just thinking about the mission at hand. But then in the down times, it's like, oh boy, then you really got to get your mind focused, on the Lord, obviously, but those that aren't Christians or aren't believers in Jesus, their minds go everywhere, but people that are believers in Jesus, at those times, they can, hopefully focus on the Lord and focus on, preparing for the next battle, preparing for what they need to do next. Hope I'm explaining this clearly. It's very difficult to explain. It's very difficult to convey unless people have been in the situation, unless you've been in a fight or flight type scenario, whatever it is, escaping from danger or running to it. It's always a choice. Heroes will run to the danger and save as many lives as possible. I don't necessarily want to use the word cowards. However, people that, because that sounds pretty judgmental, because it depends upon the circumstance and situation, that sometimes not maybe necessarily running away from the battle, running away from the fight is I'm not necessarily condoning that, but sometimes you need to seek shelter for a period of time, or cover concealment, whatever the case may be, so you can return fire, or so you can just uh, get your second wind, so to speak. you know. But those that run and keep running, and never look back, it's like leave everybody else behind and just start looking to save their own skin. Well, yeah, that's cowardice. Those are cowards. But, you know, it, like I said, there's different scenarios, there's different situations. But I keep coming back to the word countdown, because I really believe that in my heart that that's what we're in now. And like I said, I don't. I believe it's a countdown of days. All right, like I said, we've all heard about the July 4th stuff, but I'm wondering if something might even happen prior to that. I don't know. I've heard reports. I've heard rumors. I don't know. But I will say this though. And I wasn't going to talk about this. Only talked about it to a few people, because it's one of those things that you don't want to scare people to death, okay? You don't want to give into fear. We do not have a spirit of fear, okay? But there needs to be a preparedness mindset, I think. And now I've seen enough media reports on this, and enough talking about it, and enough people making videos about it, that I feel more comfortable that I could share this, where before I did not. And that is the whole Gaza thing. Um, if you've been paying attention and you've been listening, they're talking more about the Abraham peace accords, and really pushing that forward, and even a two-state solution, possibly during the ceasefire time frame, which who knows how much longer that's going to go. I thought it kind of ended yesterday. I guess I was wrong about that. I guess it was some old video footage or whatever, but it seemed like that there were attacks happening, but it wasn't necessarily between Iran and Israel, or Israel and Iran. I guess it had to do with Lebanon and maybe some other areas. I don't know. It's very hard to know what is happening and when, because not only the time hour differences, like they're like 7 hours ahead, 7 8 hours ahead, something like that. And you just don't always know what you're seeing, what people are uploading, if it's timely or not. Is it what's really happening right now? So it's hard to know, and that's part of war. That's part of battle. There's a lot of chaos and confusion. Intel it's like it's the latest intel. It's the latest information, because people will tell you that all of that will change. But getting back to the Gaza thing, or can change, but getting back to the Gaza thing, it appears that they just want that completely, I'll just use the words, taken care of. Okay? And then they can decide what that means on their own, depending upon what they're hearing and what they're seeing, as far as the suffering, as far as the starvation, as far as the continuous slaughter of innocents. We'll just leave it like that. I got to be careful here. So that's exactly what's going on. And it appears, if people recall, whether they say, oh, that's all AI and it wasn't, a big deal, and who knows, and that was several months back. And well, they always tell us several months back, years back, whatever it is. I mean, things don't always happen like right away, within the next few hours or whatever. It does take months and years for things to come about. But I guess it was, I don't know how many months back, 3, 4, maybe not that long. I don't know. Some people might remember the whole video about Gaza uploaded to Truth social media, which is basically the president's, personal site, I guess you could say, where That's how he like communicates the most. If it's not through a press conference or being interviewed by reporters or media or whatever, he goes to true social media and just shares everything there. I mean, basically, is kind of like his personal site. Well, if people remember that video that was uploaded about what I refer to as Trump land, you know, with Gaza just being turned into like a Club Med resort or something like that. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about. Uh, I think there might be a plan to make that happen. Let's just put it that way. I can't prove it. I don't know it for a fact, but I received some information that is leading me to believe that. I said this is not something I was going to share publicly. I only shared it with a few people that, I have communication with either on a regular basis or those that I know will listen to what I have to say, which I don't when I don't have to argue with them or try to convince them or anything, or they don't dismiss me outright. Because who wants to deal with that, right? I'm just simply revealing what I was informed of. All right, so people take it, leave it, whatever. But if you remember that video that came out, people say, oh, it was all AI. The president had nothing to do with it. They're just trying to make him look bad or blah, blah, blah. It was very disturbing, regardless of who was responsible for it, who put it out, and what the reasoning behind it was. It was disturbing because it was like they just wanted to, for lack of a better term, bulldoze everything and build like Disneyland in the desert or something. Make it look like Dubai or Bahrain or was it Abu Dhabi or whatever. But the more luxurious, um, affluent type areas. I'm not sure about which one it is, Dubai or Abu Dhabi. I think it might be both actually. But anyway, but the more luxurious, affluent areas where people can go, the rich could go and party and have a good time and basically be as decadent as they want. Basically, on the bone and blood, the bones and innocent blood of children and people in general. You just simply just wipe it out and then just build on top of it. Now, I hope that is not the case. But with the reports I've seen and the things that are out there now, you hate to think that people could be this evil, but I don't know if there's any limitation to the satanic evil any longer. I don't know. I don't know if they're actually throwing people out of planes or not, like it's being reported. I don't know. That sounds crazy. That sounds insane that they would have people in shackles and throwing them out of planes on deportation flights. I would like to think and believe that that is just an evil that doesn't exist. However, that would be naive on my part because we have seen many, many atrocities and we are aware of many atrocities when it comes to innocent people, the innocent blood of children, the innocent blood of just people in general, regarding sacrifice, regarding just evil, disgusting, vile behavior on the behalf of the globalist elitists and the Khazaria mafia and you name it. Just evil, evil satanic people. I don't want to really get into all that, but what I'm saying here is I believe we're on a countdown. That's what's in my spirit. That's what's in my heart about this. That's what was coming to me as I was watching the video. And I don't know, again, is it hours, is it days, or is it weeks? In my heart, I believe it's days away. So the reason I tell you this, tell all of you this, is make your preparations. I I'll use the word implore. Okay, I've done it before. I'll do it again. Whatever. People call me an alarmist or whatever they want to call me. That's fine. Whatever. I can take it. I implore you, make your preparations. Um, I don't know what that entails. I don't know if that entails having a serious talk with your family, sit down with the husband, wife, kids, family meeting, whatever people do. I know a lot of people, their kids have left home. They don't live with their kids. They may not have a relationship with their kids. Maybe the grandkids, or maybe if you do have that relationship with your kids and grandchildren, you can have these kind of meetings and talks and whatnot. But come have a plan. First plan, of course, is salvation through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Can't do anything more until you get that straight right off the bat. But then beyond that, after that, I want to say beyond that, but after that, after getting that squared away, taken care of, your relationship with the Lord, think about what you need to do, what you should do to prepare for possible events and circumstances to occur within the next few days up to July 4th, over that weekend. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be on the road? Do you want to be in the air? Do you want to be traveling? Do you want to be close to home? Do you want to be at your bug out location if you have one? Where do you want to be? I suggested a week or so ago, maybe longer, I don't know. Maybe it's time, if you have friends, family, whatever, that live in more rural areas, a farm in the country, a ranch, or whatever. Might be a good time to go, visit. I don't know. That's something you have to pray about, ask the Lord about, or whatever. I don't know. But whatever you decide for yourself, your family, whatever the situation is, just be prepared to hunker down wherever you're at. And I would suggest that people would not travel far from home at this particular time unless you know you can get to your destination and you're prepared to stay at that destination for however long. That would be my suggestion for what it's worth. But people, hey, I'm not anybody's daddy, okay? Yeah, I did invent Big Daddy. I'm going to give myself credit for that because I did. I didn't know that I was doing it, but I did. And now all of a sudden it's just like daddy t-shirts on, being sold on True Social Media or whatever, the White House merch site or whatever else, and I'm just like, what in the world, man? So I was joking with my friend John. Actually, he and I both invented it. It was just like, man, where's our royalties, man? Let's start a campaign to get our royalties from this. Because I did say it. It was joking. I was joking about it, but I did say it. It's just like that's what it reminded me of, the whole situation. And now I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it. It's just like, even Iran is accusing, Israel of running to daddy, and I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. So yeah, I mean, I kind of started it, not that, anybody cares or it's just like, oh, whatever, Ken, but I mean, seriously though, I mean, I honestly, when I first posted that several days ago, I was actually thinking about the Adam Sandler stupid movie Big Daddy, but then my friend, he sent me the picture of the wrestler Big Daddy, and it just kind of went from there. But that's what it reminded me of. It's just like, this is so childish and so immature that it's just like, a daddy that is, a dad or whatever, you've got the kids in the car and they're going on a trip or whatever, and the kids are acting up. I'm gonna pull this car over. I'm gonna whoop your butts, kind of thing, you know. We get the whoop butt stick, you know, or whatever, you know. And it's just that's just what it made me think of. And now all of a sudden, the NATO dude, the NATO chief, I had no idea the dude was gonna say anything, and you know, about that. Next thing I'm like, what the heck? What, did people go on my YouTube channel and read the post? It's just like, what in the world, man? I can't explain it. That's what I said in the last video. I was like, what in the world is going on? I cannot explain this, you know, but it's just, it's ridiculous. Just a little levity there in all this chaos and violence and insanity. It's just ridiculous, you know, and I can't believe I'm living this. I cannot believe that I'm living this on a daily basis. You gotta laugh, Ed. You laugh or cry. But yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. It's childish. It's immature. I've never seen so many people that call themselves adults act like children in my life. I mean, just a bunch of babies. That's why I post all the baby stuff, you know, of you know Trump speaking as a baby and Hegseth and Rubio and whatever else, because I think it's hilarious for one, you know, because they are acting like children. They're infants, you know. They're you know I can't take it seriously. I need to. I'd like to, but you're children. You're infants. You're infantile, you know, and I just I'm blown away. I'm blown away at the immaturity of these so-called adults. I was like, oh my gosh, were you never raised right? Were you raised by wolves? I mean, what the heck, man? I mean, what is wrong with you people? But it's just the arrogance and the ignorance and the childishness and the immaturity, and it just exudes in our society now. And it's just so pathetic and so pitiful and so weak. And I'll just end it like this, folks, and we're going to pay. I don't know exactly when, but God is not mocked. What we sow, we will reap, and we're going to pay. And like I said, I think we're on a countdown. So take it for what it's worth. Take it to the Lord in prayer. But tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. All right, y'all have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.